They told us capitalism would solve everything, that open markets, competition, and innovation would lift everyone, that if you worked hard, saved smart, and played by the rules, you'd eventually win. But somewhere along the line, something changed. Now, the top 1% controls more wealth than the bottom 90% combined. Billion-dollar corporations pay less tax than the average grocery clerk. And while CEOs pocket record-breaking bonuses, workers struggle to afford rent, healthcare, or even a single day off. The system that once promised opportunity now seems rigged in favor of the few. So the question isn't just whether capitalism is broken, it's whether the future of business can survive without radical reinvention. Because right now, people are angry. Young workers are opting out of the rat race. Consumers are demanding more than just cheap products. And climate change is knocking on the front door of every boardroom in the world. It's a storm capitalism created, and now it has to answer for it. Capitalism at its core is about freedom of choice, innovation, and rewarding risk. It gave us life-saving medicine, smartphones, electric cars, and the internet. It sparked revolutions in transportation, communication, and energy. But unchecked, it also gave us child labor, sweatshops, polluted rivers, and the 2008 financial crisis. It's not that capitalism itself is evil, it's that over time, it became distorted. What started as a race for progress turned into a race for profits, no matter the cost. Companies aren't rewarded for doing good, they're rewarded for making shareholders richer. That's the game, growth above all else, scale or die. And if it means laying off thousands, moving factories overseas, or cutting corners on safety, so be it. Wall Street applauds, stocks rise, and another CEO earns a golden parachute. But here's the twist. This version of capitalism is starting to cannibalize itself. Because how long can you keep squeezing workers before they push back? How long can prices rise while wages stay frozen? How long can corporations pollute, extract, and exploit before nature and society collapse under the weight? We're already seeing the backlash. From mass resignations to union surges, people are drawing lines. They're walking away from jobs that treat them like machines. They're boycotting brands that exploit labor or destroy the environment. And the younger generation, Gen Z and millennials, they're not buying into the same dream. They don't just want a job, they want purpose, they want transparency, they want companies that care about more than quarterly earnings. And if businesses don't listen, they'll be left behind. Just look at the numbers. A growing majority of young people now say capitalism does more harm than good, that it's outdated, that it prioritizes shareholders over communities, that it's built on exploitation rather than inclusion. And while some call that naive, the evidence is piling up. We've seen trillion-dollar companies refuse to pay living wages, pharmaceutical giants charging hundreds for pills that cost pennies to produce, tech platforms extracting our data for profit while avoiding responsibility for the chaos they help spread. The result? Trust is eroding, brand loyalty is vanishing, and governments around the world are being pushed to step in, to regulate, to tax, to redistribute. In other words, the free market isn't so free anymore, it's being told to clean up its mess. Some businesses are adapting. They're embracing stakeholder capitalism, a model that, prioritizes employees, communities, and the environment alongside profit. Patagonia, for example, gave away its entire ownership to a trust fighting climate change. Companies like Danone and Unilever are restructuring around sustainability, and B Corp are rising. Businesses certified not just for what they earn, but how they earn it. These aren't just PR moves, they're survival strategies. Because the future consumer is watching. And in a world where reputation travels at the speed of a tweet, one scandal can destroy everything. But here's the real challenge. Can these ethical models scale? Can purpose compete with profit when the system still rewards short-term gains over long-term health? To truly fix capitalism, we need more than, green logos and charity donations. We need a fundamental reset. That means rethinking how we measure success. GDP doesn't tell us whether people are thriving. Stock prices don't show whether a community is healthy. It's time to prioritize well-being over endless growth. It also means reining in corporate power. No company should be too big to fail. No CEO should earn 400 times more than their lowest paid worker. No brand should thrive while its supply chain runs on modern slavery. Regulations must evolve, taxes must be fair, monopolies must be broken, and governments must stop treating corporations like gods while treating citizens like pawns. Technology too will play a role. AI, automation, and robotics are already, honestly, rewriting the rules of labor. Millions of jobs are disappearing and new ones are emerging, but not always where they're needed. If we don't manage this shift, inequality will explode. We need policies that prepare people for the future, not leave them behind. That means universal education, reskilling, and possibly even universal basic income. Because if machines do the work, humans still need dignity, still need purpose, still need a stake in the economy. And let's not forget climate change, the biggest market failure in history. Capitalism built the carbon economy and now it must rebuild it. Fossil fuel subsidies must end. Green innovation must be rewarded, and polluters must pay the true cost of their emissions. The transition will be painful, but the alternative is collapse. Businesses that ignore this are betting against the planet. And that's a bet no one wins. So, is capitalism broken? Maybe not beyond repair, but it's definitely on life support. The good news? It can evolve. It has before. After the Great Depression, capitalism adapted with the New Deal. After World War II, it rebuilt Europe with the Marshall Plan. After civil rights movements, it slowly opened its doors to marginalized voices. But each time it needed a shock, a crisis, a demand from the people that the system serve everyone, not just the elite, and that's where we are now. On the edge of the next evolution, this is the turning point. Businesses that double down on the old model, max profit, low ethics, will face boycotts, regulations, and extinction. But those that innovate, not just in tech but in values, will lead the future. They'll attract talent, they'll earn loyalty, they'll survive the storm. Because the future of business isn't just about what you sell, it's about what you stand for. Capitalism isn't dead, but it is being challenged. The old rules don't work anymore. The world is changing fast, and the only way forward is to change with it. Not just in boardrooms, but in every factory, farm, and franchise. Not just with slogans, but with action. The next generation is watching, and they're not asking politely. They're demanding a system that works for everyone. So what do you think? Can capitalism be fixed, or are we witnessing the rise of something new? Drop your thoughts below and join the conversation.